Now that we've had the opportunity to hear a little bit about how the wine industry came to be and is structured, let's look more deeply into a wine company that dominates the market. Maybe we will be able to see if Porter's 5 competitive forces indeed shape the wine industry's strategy. How do you think a wine superpower would combat threat of new entrants? What about rivalries among existing competitors? How do they manage the bargaining power of buyers? What about suppliers? Is there a threat of substitute for wine? Let's find out. E&J Gallo is currently the world's largest winemaker. They operate out of California and distribute to around 90 countries. As of September 2015, their sales were $624 million, which is an increase in $46 million from the year before. The sheer size of this business makes the company one of the biggest barriers to entry for newer wine companies. In addition, E&J Gallo continuously buys smaller vineyards to add to their portfolio. This decreases competition for them as well as solidifies their power in the wine industry. Their production and distribution process have allowed them to develop a sense of brand loyalty. The wine industry is a very fickle beast. People have a preference for a type of wine they prefer, such as Chardonnay, Merlot, or Moscato, but oftentimes they don't care what brand they buy. E&J Gallo has aggressively innovated new ways to produce and bottle wine, which has allowed them to realize an economies of scale with their wide portfolio of brands and types of wine produced. Because of this, they have secured their position as the biggest supplier with the highest quality but lowest priced wine. This was a strategic move to attract buyers because individuals have very little brand loyalty and industrial buyers will want to keep their costs low but qualities high. With millennials having more and more buying power, the wine superpower E&J Gallo has done an excellent job with adapting to the mindsets of these new consumers. Millennials are more socially minded than any other generation recorded. As such, they're holding companies more accountable for making business decisions that better society. This idea is called corporate social responsibility. This is a conscious decision on behalf of the company to make ethical choices in all aspects of business that benefit the social atmosphere of the industry, the environment, and the company's profits. This idea is called the triple bottom line. Agriculture as a whole is constantly under scrutiny, and with such a global position and production schedule, E&J Gallo has quickly and adeptly positioned themselves as leading corporate social responsibility proponents. During the past year, the company has decreased its energy consumption by over 10%. In a state like California, which is facing a drought, this is a huge deal. Companies are beginning to understand their collective power to be positive changes in the world, and E&J Gallo's recognition of this has landed them strategic partnerships with stores like Walmart, Publix, Giant Eagle, and other worldwide suppliers. To wrap things up, let's look at this more explicitly in terms of Porter's 5 forces. E&J Gallo has effectively prevented new entrants into the industry by producing mass quantities of wine at very low prices. They also address competition by purchasing smaller, newer vineyards to ensure dominance. At a social level, they differentiate themselves from their competitors by practicing sustainable corporate practices. With such a wide portfolio of products, E&J Gallo continues to perfect the cheap production of high-quality wine. This appeases both buyers and suppliers. They are able to get decent wine at some of the lowest industry price points. By keeping their prices low and offering good quality, industrial buyers are more apt to purchase from E&J Gallo and adopt them as their house wines. We've talked global, now let's quickly discuss how this looks to our own college student economy. We have tuition to pay, apartments to rent, car insurance, phone bills, and activity fees. The list is seemingly endless. It can be hard to budget indulgences into our lives, but companies like E&J Gallo can provide us with the opportunity for some high-end treats at a low price point. Although we are just a small market in the grand scheme of things, it takes E&J Gallo's global connections and capabilities to affect us in Gainesville. So next time you're trying to find the cheapest bottle of red you can possibly find, perhaps you'll enjoy a glass from this very company and consider every decision and effort that went into this product in giving you such a low price. Before we move on to the future of the wine industry and what it currently looks like, let's back up and understand what the wine industry actually is especially as it pertains to E&J Gallo. They are in control of their product from start to finish, with little to no outsourcing. Maybe they'd be able to cut costs if they did more things offshore, but this company consistently keeps their family-owned values. We already discussed that they have their own vineyards, and it was alluded to that they are an aggressively innovative company. They have been among the first to create and implement vertical growing grapes. This basically means that they can fit more and more grapes on their land. It's simple. More grapes equals more wine, which equals more profit, so everybody wins. In Porter's strategy article, he impresses the need to continuously be ahead of the curve. By being able to be among the first to use this vertical growing, E&J Gallo is definitely able to stay ahead of competitors. So once the grapes are grown and picked, they begin the fermentation stage. E&J Gallo is dedicated to innovation, as seen by their on-site laboratories. In key vineyards, teams of researchers and scientists are continuously trying to discover newer, better, more efficient ways to ferment the grapes. These innovations help them to keep their costs down and units sold up. They maintain strategic partnerships with universities in the state of California higher education system. By making these alliances, they are allowed access to high technology that comes with the university setting. With bright minds, E&J Gallo continues to improve the process. They also use the same idea and resources for aging the wine. The wine is picked, fermented, and aged. So now what? The final step before the wine reaches its buyers is bottling. Now, E&J Gallo is very strict on their bottling standards. It is a unique part of their business plan that saves them a lot of money in the long run. Competitors use an assembly line format to bottle their wine, relying on human capital. E&J Gallo does depend on human capital, but they depend more so on their information technology department to bottle the wine. By using machines, they have effectively cut costs associated with humans. This is one major component of keeping their prices so low. Now that we understand what these 5 forces look like in practice, how it pertains to the wine industry and production, let's take a look at what the future of this increasingly globalized sector holds.